I believe that when we start taking the Bible and using the Bible as a book and instructions and wisdom and guidance that we can actually apply to life and the situations of life. The word is a lamp unto my feet, and I need a lamp when I'm walking in dark places. Paul says the word of God is your sword, and I need my sword whenever I'm going into battle or when the enemy comes against me. Are y'all listening? And therefore, I need to equip myself with the word, and I need to have the word in me and with me and ready to be used at all times, because I never know when the enemy is going to try me.
Sometimes I find myself kind of reluctant to say
We can't
say things that are going well, because it seems like once I acknowledge, it seems like the heat gets turned on. Because he was just like, I guess a couple weeks or so ago, I was just like everything sitting in nice hands, the car, things around the house need to be done, and
He's trying to compensate because you won't hold up to your mouth.
I'm just trying to say, it just things are just happening. Well, the first one she was to complain because it wasn't she that was happening.
I got it.
And so I was just, but I caught myself, and I just say, I thank you, Lord, that I don't have to ask nobody to borrow nothing, whatever, not found me spending money, but at least I had it to do. I had it, that I could do what I need to do. But like I say, sometimes it just seems like if I talk about, I'm blessed, and then it seems like then after I'm not saying bragging, but being grateful for being blessed, it seems like I get a test. So sometimes I just kind of reluctant. I thank you for it. I mean, I like saying, I pray all day, pray all the day. I wake up, whatever, do the night or whatever, just like even just thank you, Lord. I mean, I'm saying something, and so it's just, I don't know, it's just, and I feel guilty about it, not saying it out loud, just like you said that, I'm like, I got a lot to be thankful for, and I have grown, because I knew the times when all it was hitting me like that, I would just be complaining, but I didn't. Instead of complaining, I just thank God that, like I say, it was happening, but I didn't have to ask nobody.
And as you say that, it's what people have to understand is, one, when things are going well, you give God thanks in the praise and the glory. And when things are not going well, you give God the thanks, the praise, and the glory. Because I know that although this time may be difficult, my faith and my trust is in God, who who's able to turn things around. And no matter how dark or difficult it may appear, God is able to keep me and sustain me. It is very possible for us to have a cliche-ish religion, that we say things because it sounds good. But if it is only cliche-ish and you want to just sound or appear, what you are failing to realize is that a test may fall. Because if you say and confess with your mouth, I believe and I trust God, God knows and understands that your mouth can say anything. So therefore, he says, let's put your words to the test and let's see if that's true in your heart, because I'm going to let somebody say or do something to you. I'm going to let you experience some stuff. I'm going to let you go through some stuff. I'm going to let you go down this path, go down this road, because I want to see, God is saying, I want to see where your commitment and your trust and your faithfulness is. Because you can't just say it with your mouth. You have to believe it in your. I am a don't tell me. I'm a show me person. Don't tell me you love me. Show me you love me. You can tell me you sorry. You can tell me you forgive me. I'm an action oriented person. I'm not a word. I'm not necessarily a word person. I'm gonna show you that I love you. I'm gonna show you where I stand with you. It's mostly in my actions, but I get judged because of my words. And for me, it's not about words, it's about action. Now, words are important. Let me qualify. Words are important because it say words, and the words that come out of your mouth can start a forest, a fire. Words do hurt. Words do have an effect. I'm just saying me, I'm more of the action person. Difficulty with me is when I'm with people who are word oriented. That could take us right into the book of Acts when he says, now that's when you need the Holy Ghost. Because while I am an action-oriented person and I am about the show, he says, but you're dealing with somebody with the words, and therefore you got to have the Holy Ghost to help temper your words or sweeten your words. Am I communicating? And it comes down to, God says, I need to show you where you are. That's why we say, can you look back and see if there has been change in you? Or have you seen that you are stressing less? I'm not worried about the small things or even the big things. I'm not trying to live today. I'm not trying to live next week in my today. I'm living day by day. I'm not just sitting by waiting for a miracle to come. I'm going to do everything that I can do. I'm going to do my homework. I'm going to do all the studying that I need to do because I want to do my part, but yet I'm trusting in God. Is this making sense? And you want to be able to register yourself to see your own personal growth and development, because you will get mad, angry, and upset and want to cuss some folk out when they point out to you or point out things to you that they feel like you're still doing wrong or you're coming up short. But if you can just judge yourself, examine yourself. Questions or comments, and then we'll get into it.
kind of hit some things, but the question is, when you say about growth, so when you're growing, can you, how you say, die, die and come back? You feel the, you feel the flesh, not the flesh, but the things about what you're going through. Because when you said when you grow, you kill everything that was, you get the negative part, but I can see something. So the die part is when you're growing, but you're dying, you're killing off all the negative stuff. But then when you said somebody touched you, how do you, are you growing because you kind of ignore it? You're not going to that? Because once you die and come back again, you don't want to go back. In other words, like a movie, you don't want to keep dying and come back. You want to just, you want to get it off and just keep it going because, like you said, that test.
You want to die and stay dead and buried and don't go back resurrected.
Right. Because, like you said, you want to compress it. You don't want to keep building it up.
And that is a mental, that is a mental, psychological thing. That oftentimes people have become masters of suppression. That people have learned how to suppress, hide, conceal problems, feelings, and emotions, and not deal with them.
If you don't deal with it, then how would you?
Most people don't want to deal with it. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want to confront it. They don't want to examine it, because sometimes that makes you have to take a deep look into yourself. And most people don't even want to psychologically analyze themselves, because you'll find out that a lot of the issues may have something to do with you, and people don't want to take that responsibility. So the best thing for me to do, instead of dealing with it, is I put it in a box and I put it up on the shelf and I put a whole bunch of stuff in front of it or around it. That's the point. They never do.
So they don't want to.
They don't know how to. They don't have the strength to. They don't have the trust to, right? It could be fear. It could be whatever. But when you come to God, God will help you deal with some things and overcome. Let's say forgiveness. That if you really want to forgive people, you have to deal with that issue in totality, not just one-sided. Most of the time, people want to examine a situation, a setting, or a scenario looking at it one-sided, looking at what the person did to you. But most of the time, they won't ever look at, well, what did I do? What part did I play in this? In order for me to bring resolve to that issue. When you talk about, I want to kill it and I want it to die, most of the time that has to do with a bad habit or a vice, something you just don't want to be there, right? What's an example? I'll let you give the example.
Why are you thinking? Then they were trying to, I mean, nothing's taken all the way from you.
Yeah, there are some things that you may forever have to live with and deal with, but God gives you grace for it, and it is that thing that keeps you humble. I know what my thorns are. I know what the thorns of my flesh are, right? And I know it's there. And I know it's alive, and I know it's well. I know what mine are. I know it's sitting over in that corner, and it's waiting for an opportunity to get in the game. Right? although I know it's there and I can live without it, I have to know the triggers that'll make me put it in the game. Is that making sense? I have to know about me what causes me to turn to that thing. And it's all throughout the Bible. All this is Bible and scripture. Right? So even God says, he says, I am not going to destroy all of your enemies because I am going to use your enemies to chastise you, to develop you, to test you. God does not tempt you because temptation leads to sin. Testing leads to development and growth. Are you seeing the difference?
What's the difference, though?
The test and the tempt?
Yeah, like they look the same.
They look the same?
Yeah, they look the same.
To tempt you is going to lead to sin. And to tempt you, there is no way of escape. Right? God will test you, but God is not going to test you on what he knows that you are not equipped to pass or capable of passing.
They still sound the same.
So he already knows what he tests you for.
I don't understand the difference. I don't understand the difference, though. This is if I'm on a diet and somebody makes a cake and hand delivers that cake to my house and put it on the table. Now I gotta walk by this cake every day and not eat it.
That's temptation.
Is it? Or what is the test?
The test is I'm sitting up at the house and I'm thinking about something sweet and I go and buy the ingredients myself to make the cake.
No, that's not. That's
Give it away.
Here. Yeah. Because it's in my control, whether I get it or not. The enemy brings it to you prepared and says, here it is. Listen, when the serpent talked to Eve, he stood there talking to her, taking the word of God, twisting it around. Surely he didn't say that. Is that really what he meant? He's tempting her. The test, when the Spirit took Jesus up into the mountaintop, right? He's trying to say.
Wait, but why did Jesus go out there?
He was already up there.
He went
fasting and praying.
He went to go. Did he go in the wilderness to be tempted?
In the New Testament, it says tempted. It's the translation is to be tested.
Again, we right back. They sound the same. They look the same.
In your mind, in your analytical thought, they are going to be. I cannot stop anybody in here from doing anything. It tempts me. It tempts me. It is there. To test me is to see, do I have the strength, the willpower, the faith, the trust,
and the resolve.
To
be able to avoid the temptation. The temptation sounds like it's within the test.
Okay. I'll concede that with you. But you got to understand, this is why you have to understand. This is why God tests you, because God does not want you to sin or to fall into sin, so God is not going to tempt you. God couldn't do to Job what the devil did because he can't. That's why God cannot lie. It's not that God don't lie. Let me tell you, it's not that God don't lie. God cannot lie. To say he don't will suggest that he has the ability to lie. God does not have the ability to lie because whatever he says, that's what it's going to be. So therefore, he cannot lie.
So you say everything happened to Job. You say God.
He can. That's why he let the serpent do it. But the only thing God could do was move the hedge from around him so that the serpent, the devil, could have access to him. God is too righteous. That's why he says, I'm not going to destroy your enemy. What did he say? He says, with the king, he said, man, we need somebody to get him. Somebody had to say, I'll go down as a lying spirit. God can't. Not that he won't. He cannot. And God cannot violate his own law.
So who brings death about?
Who brings what death?
Yeah.
Say more.
If I die right now, who calls me die?
That chicken you kept eating that clogged your artery. Nice.
No.
I know. See how this is what misses it because we want things to be more complicated than what it actually is. That this body is just clay, dirt, dust, and the way that you treat it along the way is what's going to let it sustain and survive. Disobedience to God causes death. The enemy is already out there trying to kill you and destroy you, but your disobedience to God makes way and makes it easy for him to get you. Watch. Go ahead.
So sin and disobedience equates to death.
Will bring death.
Will bring death. So, with that being said, there's only one person that managed to live a life without sin.
Okay.
And
He died.
he died.
And why did he die?
Because other people killed him.
No.
He laid
no
down.
one killed him.
He laid his life down.
He laid his life down.
Okay, but he did not. He died at his own hands.
Why did he die?
To save us.
To save you. He knew he came to be a sacrificial lamb. He knew he came to be the sacrifice for the remission of sins for the whole world. He knew. He said, I'm born to die. And everybody who lives, who's born, is also going to die.
That's because we sin.
No, it's just because you go die. Until we're able to put, and I'm okay with you all wrestling with it. I have a lesson prepared. It's okay for you to don't get jinxed up. It's okay for you to wrestle with this because while it seems so innocent, and even I can go and help you understand it in the text that I have prepared, it's according to our understanding. And too oftentimes what causes us the problem is we're trying to understand God with this mind and understanding that we have that's based upon earthly knowledge. And your earthly knowledge cannot understand the divine. That's why you have to have the Spirit of God in you to help you interpret and understand the things of God.
So, God, you're married. Now become a test or temptation. You're married, and the test and the temptation is you see a pretty girl in front of you, you going swimming, and she's pretty. Okay? Now, the test is, do you touch it or you just look at it? That's death. Well, not if she wants you to, but I'm saying,
That's temptation.
that's temptation.
No, that's a test, bro. That's temptation.
But it's also a test, though, because you're married. So your mind is tested. You're like, okay,
If it leads me to sin,
okay.
that's temptation.
So when the test comes,
But you're saying God can't. So does God not tempt us?
God tests.
And inside those tests are temptation.
Go ahead, Jim.
Well, I was talking to one of my friends at work, whose husband's a pastor, and she said that the devil is not really original. So he kind of like test and temptation is close because he goes by the same guidelines in like everything that God does. So it probably is like really close. That just tied into it being very close. But you could tell the difference by there being an option for you to make a better choice.
That's valid.
Mike was like, it's still the same.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh.
Yeah, if you're talking about seeing a pretty woman and touching it, then that's going to be temptation. Right? So, what? When she talk about, okay, dying,
Is this my special mic?
God even talks about gluttony. Right? The Bible even talks about gluttony. When we start talking about physical health conditions, they manifest in old age, not because of what we're doing in our old age. Most of the time is what we've done,
Compounded over time.
and it just catches up. So the neglect from your youth, right, catches up to you in your old age. My mom, I was notorious for taking a shower and going outside still wet, and turning and getting out the bathtub and having the fan blowing directly on me. I'm gonna say, all right, go catch that pneumonia, right? All kinds of stuff, and going out there, your pores still open, and all of that kind of stuff. Now, when you start talking about joint pain and joint issues, and you know you was 12, you climb high up in the tree, get up on the roof, and just jump down like it wasn't nothing. Go on the bicycle, make your little ramp, and just go and do little catwalks, and just do all kind of stuff in your youth. You're not thinking about my old man gonna have to pay for this. Being promiscuous in your youth. You thinking about, oh my God, you ain't thinking about that stuff. But then when your relationship in your old age is unstable, you're not thinking about, I'm paying for what I did in my youth. Taking advantage of situations, young, not learning, mama, and not trying to cook. You ain't even trying to cook. You ain't even trying to learn the difference in the numbers on the stove. You just think you just go sit down at the table and you just gonna eat. You ain't thinking about, why we gotta have all these different piles of the clothes, and you go and just put everything together. Why we just can't do that? You want to take all the shortcuts in your youth because you got something else to do, somewhere else to go, something that's more important. You don't understand. You go pay for that in your old age. No, I do, but boy, was he you?
It's one
I
thing.
mean, because you can buy it in 5 pieces don't mean you had to eat all 5 pieces at one time. Right? And so one of the issues is that because we're trying to understand God and the things of God with our mind, a lot of times we miss God. I can take you here. John chapter number 4. Is this making sense, y'all?
Yes. So my question is, we were talking about understanding, trying to understand God in our mind. My question is, does one ever fully have a full-on spiritual understanding? Is that ever, okay, like a video game?
No.
And so there's no...
No, because God is too big for your finite mind to your finite mind to understand. Finite can never understand infinite. God is too big.
Well, spiritually.
He keeps them. No. If you ever reach a place that you think that you understood, wake up tomorrow. God will show you something totally different. Take any verse or passage in the Bible. Read it today. Grow with God for 7 days. And go back and read that same passage 7 days later. And God will give you a different revelation. Okay, I'll put it to you this way. I'll put it to you this way. We are in the year 2024. That's 2024 years after the death of Jesus Christ. Y'all got that? 2024 years after the death of Jesus Christ. Y'all got that? We still reading the same word. And this word made sense to your mama, your daddy, your grandma, your granddaddy, their mothers and fathers, all the way back. The same word. This word is generationally interpreted.
So basically you'll never get to we'll never finish the Bible.
When you say finish it, what do you mean?
Meaning that we'll never, like, you got the Old Testament, New Testament. So in other words,
You can read it.
You can read it.
The interpretations
What
are.
I'm saying is that you've been pastor for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
In your 30 years, you probably get to pay to maybe just, I mean, I know you go different things, but I'm saying that you'll never get to the end of it.
No, I've read the Bible from Genesis to Revelations, from the beginning to the ending. I've done that several times. But understanding it, I'll never get there. Because it's fresh insight every single time. That's why I challenge you all. Stop treating this book like it is so sacred that you're going to hell if you write in it. I can track my growth through my Bible. I track mine. Now, this is probably my 3rd Bible because I just wore the other one out, but I still have it. And I can go and compare my notes that I've written in my understanding the first time I read it to the notes that I have now, and my notes today are more critical. And I'd be looking like, ooh, I thought that. If you're not continuously spending time in it, your thought process is going to continue to be the same.
But that previous time you weren't necessarily wrong.
No, I wasn't.
You just didn't have.
That's just where you were.
That's where you were. Thank y'all. Now y'all understanding it. Yeah. Yeah. You picking up what I'm putting down? Yeah. But if you're not writing anything, you're not journaling or charting anything, you can't go back and check your own growth. Anybody go to the doctor and have to get blood work?
Yeah.
I like Washington Clinic. I like the little thing they got my chart. I done got so jiggy with that thing now. Man, you go and get blood work, and before you can get to your next destination, my chart coming up. You got test results available. And now I don't even know why I go to the doctor, because he just go tell me what I already saw, and he looks surprised. But it makes it that you can go back and see the trend. Are y'all following me here? If they can chart your blood to take care of your physical body, you should be able to chart your spirit to monitor your spiritual development. That we take put more care, emphasis on taking care of this shell than we do the spirit who lives within the shell. And the only purpose of the shell is to house the spirit.
Do you know where the spirit is going?
I know where it's going?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a 50-50 chance.
Right. So, so the 50 that you think is going, it may be end up being 40 and the 60 is going somewhere else.
No, when you say that, no, you're going either heaven or you're going to hell.
Right. And I'm saying
It ain't no 60-40.
No.
No, that's that 60-40 love. That's a song.
No, I'm saying when you're thinking, because like you said, that's a shell. So just because you go to church doesn't mean you're going to heaven. And the ones that's not going to church don't mean they're going to hell.
You're right.
So what is it that you're really doing together then?
Who?
The outside and inside.
Can you live outside? You rather live outside or you rather live inside?
Well, I rather live inside.
Okay. So your spirit wants to live inside of something.
Right.
Here we go to Bible again. Man had legions. Inside of a man, they encountered Jesus. And Jesus called the legions to come out. Lead a man. They said, we got to have somewhere to live. Say, well, man, there goes some pigs over there. Can you just let us go live inside of them? The spirit want to have somewhere to live and to dwell. What Jesus said, he says, if a spirit leaves a man, it leaves him, goes out. He said, but if it don't find nowhere to live, he comes back to that man, and it makes him 7 times worse. Now, whatever spirit you get delivered from, it know how to get back to where it come from. And when it come back even worse.
Which I think goes full circle to what Keem was talking about earlier, when you were like, what do you do about trying to like kill these things? Like if you don't kill it and you leave it, if there's certain things that you tuck away or you feel like you've gotten rid of, but you haven't, and it's something that you allow to leave and you get rid of and you leave it long enough, but you allow it to come back, is something that could come back a lot worse than when you thought you got rid of it the first time.
So the whole man, not specifically the man with wings, but you said, you just spoke on it and said, if the spirit, when the spirit leaves you and it has nowhere else to go, it's going to come back to that old house, basically, and it's going to be 7 times worse. Why is it that in that case, the 7 is worse, but the number 7, it means completion, or am I saying it right? So why is it in the whole Legion spirit case 7 times is worse, but then the 7 in another case means completion? Am I asking the right?
You're asking the right question.
Okay.
Am I just going to have the right answer for you? Right? I don't know. It could just be 7. 7 is also a random number in some instances. When they talk about like 40 days, 40 nights, some numbers are random to them. Now, some scholars will go and make a connection between 7. I can't tell you. Because they heated up the fire furnace 7 times hotter. 7. Right. All right. So we started talking about senior growth, and it's important. John chapter number 4, I hit this real quick, at least to introduce it. Jesus goes and he meets the woman at the well, the Samaritan woman at the well. He goes to meet the Samaritan woman at the well. He goes to meet the Samaritan woman at the well. He's leaving, and he said he's leaving Judea, and he was going to Galilee. And he says, hey, y'all, I got to make a stop in Samaria. John chapter number 4. He says, I got to make a stop in Samaria. I need to make a stop in Samaria. He says, I have need. I got to go through Samaria. What I need you to understand is that Jesus was a Jew, and Jews did not have any interactions with Samaritans. Jesus was a Jew, and the Jews had no dealings with Samaritans, people in Samaria. In fact, if a Jew had to get somewhere, they would go all the way around just to bypass Samaria. That they didn't really care how far it took them out the way. When you left Judea, or you left Galilee going to Judea, if you knew your route had to take you through Samaria, you better pack a lunch. Because they would detour themselves, because they just didn't have any dealings with each other. But Jesus said, I have need, I got to go through Samaria. And the Bible says, the story tells you that Jesus came and rested at a well. And this is about 12 o'clock noon. And it says, Jesus sent his disciples to go and buy food. He told them, y'all go get something to eat. He was tired. He told them to go get. I never understood why, one insight, why he had to send all 12. Like it took 12 grown men to go get something to eat, something to drink. It took all 12 of y'all. Did it take all of them? Or Jesus didn't want them to be present for what he knew was about to occur. if you got to learn a lesson from that, sometimes you got to understand why sometimes God will create situations, times when you all by yourself. Because what he's about to deal with, other people are not going to understand. Because when they showed up again, they said, Jesus, how you talking to this woman? What if they had been there when the woman showed up? They would have blocked the conversation because they'd have been talking about, man, she's a Samaritan woman. Sometimes it's good for you when God puts you in isolation and meets you one-on-one without people around you, because what he's getting ready to deal with you about is not for everybody, and he understands some people can short circuit your blessing. Some people can be a hindrance to your breakthrough and your deliverance because they don't understand. They're rationalizing it from their carnal perspective. Because it was enough for her by herself to be there with Jesus trying to understand what was going on because she was clueless. Can you imagine if other people bring in the same energy? See, you got to be around people and you get mad when folk ain't there. See, you don't understand what God has told them to do to occupy them just so they can't interfere with your growth. Sometimes when you get to the point that nobody calling you, nobody bothering you, nobody's inviting you, nobody want to be fooled up with you, you just might be at the edge. Sometimes God wants you to be by yourself so that when he does what he does, you can't give nobody the credit. It ain't no mistake about it who did this. But see, if you keep getting your feelings and want to keep talking about I was there for y'all and y'all wasn't there for me and I did this for you when you didn't have and you needed some bread, I went and got you some bread. You want to live in that vein. But if you ever pause and just thought about this is why God had you on sabbatical by yourself. He said, because I know you wouldn't have the power to deal with the influences based upon what I'm getting ready to do with you. Did that just help anybody? He met the lady 12 noon. It's hot. Normal women is not going to the well 12 o'clock in the afternoon. They go to the well early in the morning or just before the sun is setting. No woman in her right mind goes to that well at 12 o'clock. At least not a woman who ain't up to no good. Her time was at 12 o'clock. Y'all got that? We can talk about a whole lot about, because now it's clear she got some issues that Jesus deals with, but I don't want us to get hung up there. Jesus said, I got need, I got to go through Samaria. And I don't care what it is. Jesus doesn't worry about what's popular. He does not worry about what somebody's opinion is going to be. He's not worried about what the critics are going to say, what the critics are going to think. He doesn't care what your nationality is, what your economic status is. He says, if I'm going to bless you, if I got something for you, I'm coming to you regardless of what other people may say, think, or feel. He shows up and they have this encounter. Here comes the woman right on cue, right on schedule, right at the right time. She gets a surprise. Here's Jesus sitting on the well. He ain't by the well. This brother's sitting on. He done took a seat on the well. Y'all got that? The woman of Samaria came to draw water. Jesus said to her in verse number 7, give me a drink. Jesus meets the woman where she is. Sometimes you want to change people, but you won't meet them where they are. You want people to be delivered. You want them to grow. Sometimes you have to meet them where they are. One of my character flaws in trying to help people is that I'm so quick to move them to resolve that I won't listen to their whole story. And in order for me to be effective, I have to learn how to meet people where they are and just let them vent for a moment. I have to meet them where they are and let them get out whatever that is inside of them. I have to learn to pause and not be in such a hurry to get them to where I know they need to be. Jesus met the woman at the well, understanding her purpose for coming to the well, and where they were, he said to her, "Give me a drink." Y'all got that? Look at her response. Verse 8, he says, "For the disciple had gone away into the city to buy food. Then the woman of Samaria said to him, 'How is it you, being a Jew, as me, a Samaritan woman?' For Jews have no dealings with Samaritans." Now it's not caught up totally off guard because she says, "Man, you know y'all ain't even supposed to be, you ain't supposed to be talking. Number one, why are you even here in this place? Because most of y'all take the long way around. Man, what you doing now?" I don't know if that's some cold word that they use. Because you know you out of place, you out of pocket. She's interpreting this encounter based upon what she thinks. I need you all to hear me. Sometimes you miss the obvious because you're trying to interpret these encounters with your own past, your own experiences, your past hurts, your past disappointments, your past prejudices. Here it is. She's meeting the man who has the potential to turn her life around, but she's interpreting her encounter based upon her past experiences. Here it is. Sometimes God sends people in your life to bless you, but because of your past experiences, you judge that person and shun them away. Okay, y'all didn't know what that looked like. You grew up not liking white people, and God put you somewhere for somebody white to come and help you. But when they try to help you, you turn it down because you say, "I was taught not to trust them white folks." You were in a relationship with somebody, and that person hurt you, and then you started making a connection with people that looked like them or resembled them or had some of their characteristics and their appearances, and you begin to judge and treat other people like that. Sometimes God will put people in position, people in God will come into your life to bless you, but you're looking at what the stereotype is. You're looking at what other people have done and what other people have said to interpret your right now moment with God. How many people talk about they ain't going to no church because they've been church hurt before? Well, you were church hurt in another church. Don't necessarily mean you're going to be church hurt in another church. Yeah, Reb hurt your feelings 20 years ago, but God done raised up a whole bunch of preachers since then. But you won't give this one a chance because of what happened years ago with another one. Are y'all hearing me? This is where I'm going to stop because I need you to see and understand. And Jesus said to her, Ma'am, if you knew who it was who asked you for a drink, you would have asked me for a drink. I'm not going to go any further than that, but to just sometimes tell you some of the reason that we cannot get from God is because as much as we say we know God, we don't recognize God to be able to appreciate God and know that God has shown up in our lives and in our situations, right? Sometimes that's why you keep going through your situation, because God show up, but because you can't recognize God because of your past experiences and your limitations and your limits, you can't really see God to know that God is really trying to work that thing out on your behalf. You could have been had the breakthrough that you've been looking for. He says, I showed up, but you shunned me because I didn't show up the way you thought I should show up. He said, you could have been had the breakthrough, you could have been had the healing, but I tried to tell you what stuff to do, but you kept talking about what you don't like. I wrestled the day that I go to the doctor and he tell me I got some sickness that I have to eat liver. It's a hard toss-up. It's a hard toss-up. Do I just go home and say, yeah, listen, y'all, he told me I need to eat liver 3 times a day, or I'm going to be in some serious trouble. We may as well go and start making arrangements. Right? But if Jesus is sitting telling my doctor to give me something that's going to sustain my life, now I need to change my prayer. Lord, please, let whatever this liver is taste like, please let it taste like a filet mignon or ribeye or some chicken or something. Lord, please don't let this liver taste like liver. Are y'all hearing me? And sometimes we wonder why we keep going through what we're going through is because God is sending you the solution. He's coming to tell you, but if you want to keep interpreting it according to what you are accustomed, it don't taste good. Well, he says, I'm not telling you to eat this for the taste. I'm telling you to eat this because it's going to help you. And then when your body keep getting worse, you go keep praying. He said, listen, I have nothing else to say to you. Your word is the same. Eat this. How you 60 and don't like to drink water? I struggle. I struggle to drink water. I just don't like water. Anybody here know how long intestines are? How long is your intestine?
The small one is like 23 feet.
About how?
The small one is like 23 feet.
About 23 feet.
That's definitely from like here to you.
23 feet. 23 feet of stuff wrapped up, coiled up inside of you. Don't your waste run through your intestine?
Your waist?
Don't stuff you eat, it process, it digest, it runs through that 23 feet. No? 23 feet, ain't it? Here's. Go get a water hose. And on one end, just keep putting forkfuls, spoonfuls of dirt in that water hose. And don't put no liquid through that water hose, or you keep putting liquid that turns into sugar, and see if that hose don't eventually clog up. It may, I know. You ain't drunk no water today. Nothing happened. You drunk some tea. You drunk a 12-ounce Coke. You keep doing that over a period of time. Eventually, it's going to catch up to you. And then you asking God, Lord, please take this away. He said, I told you to do it. Drink some water. We can apply that a whole different lot of ways, right? We have our habits. If you keep going to the store and you keep spending $20 a day on anything, that's eventually that's $100 a week, right? Oh, y'all did 7. Okay, that's 140, right? 2 weeks, that's 280. Y'all with that? Then you at 560.
Nice.
But then you say, I don't have no money. If you do stuff over time, he says, and so God is saying to you, my solution is quite simple, but because you don't recognize when I'm moving and I'm present, you interpret me according to your limited thoughts. You say, because if you knew who I was, you would have asked me for a drink. But you cannot ask him for a drink because you keep thinking about what they taught you, that we don't have no dealings with people like that. Hey, y'all know one of the hardest things for all y'all single people? That the longer you're single, the harder it's going to be for you to get married. Because you get set in your ways. And you develop a spirit of independence. Because nobody has had to check you. You've had to be accountable to nobody. You put on what you want to put on, go where you want to go, who you want to go with, do what it is you want to do. And then when God sends you somebody, nobody gonna tell me what to do. And then you wait till you get 60 and 70 and you be talking about, I don't need no man. It's not that you don't need one, you just don't learn how to live without one for so long. And we'll flip that the same way with men. But a man, he going to get him. Because you interpret things and you become set and settled according to your earthly culture, that you cannot see God showing up for you and saying, okay, God, you here with me. Let me ask you to give me something to drink. God, what are you teaching me? God, what are you showing me? What is it that I need to see? Sometimes them folk ain't on your job just to come to your job, be on the job with you, to make your life miserable. Sometimes them folk ain't on your job at you because of the color of your skin and because of the way that you're doing some things. We get stuck in our own way of doing. And we don't see no other way because that's all we've ever seen. She doesn't know how to interact with Jews because Jews have been taught not to have dealings with Samaritans, and Samaritans don't have interaction with Jews. So when a Samaritan have an interaction with a Jew who's going to change her life, she don't know how to deal with them.
So you're growing to teach now. If you're taught a kid that in school, wouldn't they trust God as they got older? What? How you're teaching us now, we're still learning.
Okay.
If it's taught in school as a child, wouldn't they understand the way of God as they growing, because they grow together? When you teach it, like me, you teach her something now in her second, third grade. As she get older, she know right from wrong. So we taught this when we were younger. wouldn't we know God more that we do right? We won't do more. We do more right than wrong.
We were taught.
No,
Right.
I feel like that's
your
valid.
parents, but I think school. Because now, because you realize when you're in school, you're not with your parents all the time. The teachers teaching us.
So let me help you. And this is a common mistake of today. School is not supposed to teach you morals, ethics, and values. School should be teaching you 2 + 2 = 4. School should be teaching you that your subject needs to agree with your verb, and it's we are and not we is. School should be teaching you about the Constitution, about government. Ethics, morals, and values are not to come from the school, they are to come from home. Racism is not taught in school, it's learned at home. People are making school an extension of home, and that's why there's such an issue. Because people want to even teach at school, but want to bring their morals and their values into the classroom and instill it upon children. You're not the moral police. So it's not to be taught at school, it's to be taught at home. So, to press the point, is that those things about God should be taught at home, right? And the mama can teach the baby all about morals and ethics and how to behave and how to do right. When she get out there in the midst of that world, she know right. But to fit in, I ain't gonna even call it peer pressure. But to fit in, to be cool, she compromises what mama say to be accepted. Now, that does not just happen for children. You can succumb to adult pressure, if you want to call it pressure. I don't want to call it pressure. When you know you got to go to church Sunday morning.
You hanging up. Both on.
Necessarily mean you're gonna sin, but that's just a test.
I will not go out. I try not to go out on a Saturday night. I'm so transparent. I'm gonna share this with you. So they had a cousin birthday party Saturday, just Saturday pack. Started at 7. Yeah. I ain't going. Because I ain't going out on the Saturday. But ask me what time I went to bed Saturday night. 1 o'clock.
Oh, God.
Ask me why I was up till 1 o'clock. Watching boxing.
Oh, you still hanging out?
I was still hanging out, right? You know where I justify that in my mind? I was home. And I was not in an environment at that time of night. Right? Just on that Saturday.
But I get, are you explaining that to say that it's still one and the same? It don't matter if you was outside or home?
I wasn't in the bed being fully rested.
Okay.
That's why I said I'm teaching. Like, right? Well, the word was already done. Right? At that time, the word is already done, but I was not in the bed letting my mind and my body rest to be prepared. Right? So, but I still won't go out. I still take my chances at home with my feet up or whatever. But I'm just saying, in our own mind, man, we rationalize stuff, and sometimes we still can miss. Yeah, right. The thing is for us to be able for you to start recognizing and get away from interpreting everything according to your limited thought and begin to see that this is a possibility, that this might be my encounter with God that is going to bless me, that is about to change my life. And he says, be careful how you entertain strangers, because sometimes you're actually entertaining angels. But if you judge every angel based upon your experiences and your culture and your environment, sometimes you can miss it. Think about the people who done taught you the most about financial wealth. It ain't been too many people that look like me. It's always been a Samaritan. Right? If I would ask you right now how much your mortgage is, how much your rent is, you would hesitate to tell me. You ain't go. If I ask you where you got some stocks at, you ain't going to even want me to know you got stocks. It's a cultural thing, because we don't want people to know how much money we have and how much money we spend. But I guarantee you, it's a Samaritan on your job who will tell you everything. Oh no, you need to move your money from there, because that's going to crash next week. Right. Sometimes God will send people in your life to make a difference in your life, but if you keep judging them based upon your past experiences and what culture has taught you, you might keep coming to the well for the same thing day after day.
Say, I don't get the blessings, but you keep turning them away.
And we do that opposite too. Sometimes you don't show us about our stuff. You don't want us to know how bad shape you're in. So we say how much money you got, but then how less money you got too.
And that was the thing about Jesus. He met her where she was. He started a conversation, just a casual conversation. And as you can listen, if you read the text, the conversation got more intense. And when Bruh started talking about her own personal things, she tried to switch the subject again. Right? Next week, if I'll come back to it, because it'll also teach you. And Jesus did it masterfully. He never even responded. Listen to me. He didn't even respond to her comment about you ain't supposed to be talking to me. Which says you also have to demonstrate the power and the ability not to have to respond to everything people say. We'll get to that. Any questions, any comments? I pray y'all take this. I pray that it's helpful to you. I hope that you can take it and grow from it. And recognize when God is showing up through the looks of other people into your lives that may be able to provide for you the breakthrough that you so desperately need. All right. Come on, let's stand. Hey, thank you, Crystal. It's a pet, ain't
So let me get a picture.
No.
He's talking on us.
She said I could tell her what she said. I was
Dang.
right back there next week. All right. Thank you all so very much. appreciate you all for what you're doing, for just who you are. I really do. I was reminded today, that man, end of this month will be 1 year that we've been here in this building, in this church, and so we're grateful to God. And so we're going to do. They want to do something. We're going to let them do it. All right, let's go home. Sometime is coming.
June the 7th or 8th, that's Friday or Saturday. You wanna do something?
Well, it's 2 different things, though. 2 different things. Crystal said he was doing something for the kids up there.
That's what, no, you talking about.
Oh, we talking about the church anniversary.
No, just 1 year.
We talking about the church when you're anniversary. But they took, she talking about the.
Oh, she mentioned the after school or end of the school year dash. That's what she said.
Different things.
Sunday.
Well, it's Saturday and Sunday.
All right. And I think the second Sunday in June, they're having a community baccalaureate at Bedford. We'll talk more about that. They're having a community baccalaureate for all graduates.